Hello, how are you doing? My name is Christian and welcome back to your channel The Cube Ninja. Today we are be talking about Azure Container Apps. Okay, maybe you have listened from someone to talk about and tell you that Azure Container App is such as container service, Azure Kubernetes service, sorry, or a Kubernetes cluster. Okay, don't do that. Okay, don't hurt yourself. Okay, it's not a Kubernetes cluster. Okay, Azure Container Apps does not have the all the features and all the possibilities that have a Kubernetes cluster or provide for you. Okay, uh, Azure Container Apps basically works like this. You are see this slide, and Azure Container Apps is true that is the best and the easiest and cheapest way to deploy containers in production. Okay, and it's working like this. Okay, so all the containers need to be run in a virtual network. So for example, locally when you run some container in Docker, okay, and you run Docker Compose app and you run three services, okay, all the services, if you don't create a network, Docker is going to create a default network for you, okay, where all the both of the three containers are running and can connect each other. Okay, but here in Azure Container Apps, this virtual network is named environment. Okay, and when you create a container app, you can set the traffic only accept the traffic inside the environment, or you can accept also the traffic outside the environment. So that's a good point for Azure Container Apps. Okay, and if you see here, you have your application inside a container that is running inside a replica. Okay, but let's figure in some suddenly your traffic increase and demands more replicas of your application. So it's going to be a load balancer balancing the traffic uh, for all the revision, for all the replicas you are creating. So you can create from one, the minimum of 1 to 10, or minimum of from 1 replicas to 900 replicas. It's a lot of traffic that can support container apps because for this really huge horizontal auto scaling. Okay, but also you can set easily rules for uh, vertical auto-scaling. Vertical auto-scaling means whenever you want or whenever the traffic demands, okay, you can jump the resources of your instances. So, for example, you can go from 2 cores of CPU to 4 cores of CPU, or virtual auto-scaling also, you can set rules to demand more memory RAM or this space too. Okay, so let's make today a laboratory where we are going to containerize Azure function. We are going to deploy the Azure function in the Azure Container Apps. Okay, and let's see how is it going. Okay, so I have here a Docker file of to Dockerize and Azure functions. So what I can go is in the solution view, and I have here one function that is greeting the user. Hello everyone from Azure Container Apps. So let's run it locally before to containerize to see if we have some problem with our function. Okay, here we have Swagger, and I can't just execute this function. Okay, that's all. It's a basic function that is returning a string, nothing else. Okay, so what I can do now is stop and try to Dockerize this or create an image of this Azure function. So I have here my Docker file or functions. I think I go to go back one level. Okay, and I can do a cut of Docker file is the same Docker file. I can do is Docker build and give a tag. This tag is a name composed with the registry name and the image name. So let's go in first of all to create our resource group here in Azure. So let's go into create a resource group. Please create. Okay, like this. And maybe Karma is good for this example. Let's go into create because we are going to deploy the Karma function. So create, go to resource group, and here what I can do is to create a container registry. Container registry is a virtual place where I can save my Docker image. Okay, so let's say container registry, and let's going to create one. And the name of the container registry is going to be Karma ACR, like this. Okay, and I can just create it. I don't need a complex configuration here. So the deploy of a container registry is really quick. So let's wait a couple of seconds. Okay, go to resource, and let's go to enable a user. Okay, like this, and I'm going to pick the name of the registry to build my image. So what I'm going to do is develop the name of my registry, and let's name this image karma function, and it's a beta version. So for example, .0.0.0.0.1 and space dot. I am building my Azure function application, and I can create another tab in my terminal to log in to this Azure Container Registry. I'm going to leave in the description of the video this instruction to log in the Azure Container Registry. So let's do the container registry, and let's going to pick the username. So let's going to replace just here after the U, and I need the same for the name of the registry, and I need to pick the password too. So let's going to replace here contraseña. Okay, if everything is well, I am logged. Okay, and my image is also built. Okay, so what I can do is run it, detach, and let's say a name for the container that is going to be karma function container, and the ports are going to be in my local host 8080 is going to run a container where inside this container in the port 80, because I said like this in the expose instruction, is running an Azure function. So let me just copy the Azure function name, and it's going to see the 0.1. Okay, and I have some kind of error. It's already in use by the container. Oh, I have maybe a container with this name. So let me just delete. Okay, yeah, and I can run. Okay, it's running, and I do docker ps in the port 8080. I have my, let's say for example 8080 here. I have my Azure function with Swagger. So let's going to create the user. Okay, hello everyone from ACA, sorry. And let's going to clone this tab. Okay, and let's going to create an Azure Container App. Okay, so let's going to the resource group. I just name it karma like this, create, and let's type here container app. Okay, so let's going to create a new one, and the name of my container app is going to be named karma function, for example. And if you see, I have a option here to optimize this container app for Azure function. If I don't set this one, I can choose. So if it's going to be a web app running inside a container, I can choose this web app. The code I can pick from a container image, or maybe from a source code or artifact such as Azure DevOps. So let's click here. Okay, it's for functions. Okay, the region is North Europe. It's okay. And okay, let's going to create a new environment. Let's going to create a network, call it Karma, where all the application inside this network, such as the Angular application or React application for front, the SQL server also container also is going to be running inside this environment. So let's create an environment is the equivalent of equal the virtual network, and let's name it Azure Karma Amp, for example, and let's do create. Okay, and let's go to container. The name of the container details, okay, from container registry. I didn't push the image, so what I need to do here is to say, okay, docker images, and I'm going to push this one. So let's say docker push the 0.0.1 like this, and it's pushing. It can take some seconds, okay, 20 or 30. So let's wait and let's see how many settings we have here. So for example, in my container is such as a computer where is running my container, and this computer I can have also environment variables, and I can set here. Okay, so for example, if in my function I think this is not the case, I have a local settings where I have some environments I can use from the program or CS, or maybe I can get like a method to get environment variables and not from the local settings. Okay, but this is not the case. Okay, so let's wait for all the layers of my image. If you see Docker image is are many layers. So for example, uh, uh, I think most of them are pushed. So just two layers of my image are pushing right now and are just ending. Okay, so let's wait a couple of seconds. Okay, so if I go to the container app, I am here, and I say, okay, from my container registry, I just created this Karma ACR. There is an image that is Karma function. I just push it with this flavor, this version. Okay, nothing else. What I can do, I can, whenever I run the container inside the container app, I can run also some commands. Okay, but this is not the example, and this is all the resources are going to have my instance. That's okay for me. Okay, and here I need some ingress rules. I'm going to enable, and I can limit the traffic from only application running in container inside my environments, or also accepting traffic from anywhere. This is the case. So let's go to click here. Okay, but let's figure this is a front-end application. Okay, I can accept traffic from anywhere, but maybe the Azure function only I need accept traffic from the front-end application. So in this case, I can do like this, just limit the traffic coming from other containers living in this environment. Okay, but this is not the case. So let's click like this. And also I need to set the port where my application is living inside container. In this expose instruction, I just did for you. Okay, so set here 80. You can optional give some tags, okay, but let me review and create. Let's go into deploy our Azure function in Azure Container Apps. Okay, that's so exciting, right? So maybe this deployment can take a couple of seconds, okay, but I think it should be fast, and it's not only creating Azure Container Apps. Also, is creating also container apps, and also is pulling the image from the Azure Container Registry and running the container. So that's why it's taking some seconds. Okay. So also is creating a log analytics workspace for application insights. So that's really good. Okay, and now it's creating. It's already created the Azure Container Apps, but it's still deploying because maybe it's doing some kind of validations. Okay, I have here all the details of my container apps. It's just created. So also we need, I would like to have a domain, and all the traffic is coming to my domain be forwarding to a URL of this container app. So let's going to do that. Let's going to clone this tab, and let's going to create a new DNS zone. Okay, so for example, I have here in my domain provider is Squarespace, all my domains, and I'm going to use for this example this one, bestkarma dev.com. Okay, so let's go into this resource group. Oops, maybe the container apps I deployed in other resource group. Oh, that's a fail, huh? But it's not bad for this for this tutorial, but you have to think about that. Okay, so let's create a DNS zone. This DNS zone is going to be inside the proper resource group. So let's say, okay, the name is Karma, okay, and let's say is best karma.dev.com is the name of my domain. Okay, you can see here. And let's create the DNS zone. Create. We are initializing the deployment. Okay, let's go into the resource and let's set a new record. Okay, I want a subdomain start for function dot bestkarma.dev.com. If you see, I cannot choose the type A like I did in the Kubernetes service tutorial, because I can select the type A when the traffic is going to be moved forward from my domain to a public static IP address. But this is not the case. I want to move the traffic is coming from to my domain, bestkarma.com, to the URL of the container app. The URL of the container app is this one, and here is my function running. What I can do also is say API and greet user. So hello everyone from my function in a container app. Okay, so let's pick this one URL, go to the DNS zone is for over here, and let's choose the type. The proper type is canonical name, CNAME. And here I'm going to paste the alias, and I'm going to remove https / like this. That's not the name of the URL of the container. So CNAME, that's good. And let's remove the https. Okay, it's working now. Okay, and let's go to the overview and let's pick the DNS and let's set for my domain the DNS I need. So let's remove all of them and let's go into update like this. Okay, so let me pick the second one and remove the point. Okay, so okay, that's good. Let's copy. I think I didn't copy properly. So let me pick one by one. Okay, I need to pay attention in this step. So maybe like this and add another one that is the last one of my DNS zone and remove and just save. That's all we need here. That's all the configuration we need in the domain provider. And okay, so let's go into the Azure Container App, and we have here also the possibility to set the custom domain. So let's do that. Let's add a new domain. Okay, and my domain is overview, this one, but with the function I need the whole host like this. Okay, and let's go into try to validate. So I have some problem here, like I need to set an extra record in the DNS zone of type text from this host, a suite.function.bestkarma.dev.com. Let's copy. Where is my, it's right here, record set. Let me add another one from here to this kind of hash or ID. So copy this one and choose the type text records and add it. Okay, and this is fast, the validation. Whenever you create this record, you can validate. And validate fail, the DNS. Or maybe I don't copy this one as a function. Okay, it's still failing. So let me, okay, this is the value, a suite dot function best karma. Oh, sorry. Let me delete this one because you see no, I have a mistake here. If you see the name is Azure bestkarma.com, no. So let me delete this one, okay, and let's create another one. So a suite function is deleted, so let's go into add, and let's say this is, let me copy properly a suite function like this, okay, type text, and here let's going to pick the hash like this, adding the record, and now let's try to validate again. Okay, good, so it's validated and we need to add this custom domain. Okay, so it can take a couple of seconds, not too much. Okay, so I have here my domain created, okay, but it's created, if you see, it's created a managed certificate. So we need to bind this TSL SSL certificate to my domain. So let's wait a couple seconds, and while we can review, let's clone the tab of the container app, and we can review all the stuff, all the settings and options we have here. So let's see, for example, revisions and replicas. Okay, let's click here to know what is inside. So for example, active replicas now, I have one, and I have configured that minimum of replicas is going to be 0, and maximum of replicas is going to be 10. So for example, Azure, when my site is not receiving traffic, okay, what it's going to do is switch off all the instance, okay, and it's going to be really cheap because I'm not going to be charged with extra charge in my billing. Okay, so that's really convenience for me. And here we can do something like this and auto scale. I want a minimum of 1 replicas because at least always I want 1 replicas or one instance of my application running. Okay, whenever the traffic suddenly increase, okay, you can set a maximum of 1000, but I am going to set a maximum of 10 replicas. Okay, so a load balancer can balance all the traffic between all of them, all of 3 replicas. Okay, um, okay, that's all we need to know here. I have here volumes. Maybe I need to create or to get or to purchase this space in Azure and to have some data saved, and I can set some volumes whenever the container runs. Okay, with these volumes, I can pick all the data outside in this Azure disk inside the container. So this is really convenient too. Here I have the deployment settings. Okay, so let's check what's that. The organization settings. Okay, repository, branch. Okay, so let's see, for example, if you see, okay, the TSL SSL certificate is already installed. Okay, and I can try to reach my application from the my domain like this. Okay, and here I have my Azure function running from my domain. So it has a problem that I am working on it. Is a Swagger UI. I have set Swagger UI to only uh, uh, use the HTTPS scheme. For example, if I go to the swagger.json, I can see what I only need to do is to add the HTTPS scheme here in this list of schemes, and that's all I need. Okay, so we have the my Azure function running here with my domain. Okay, we can see, for example, option of networking. Okay, I have a public access, but maybe I don't. This is the container registry. So here is the container app. We can use Dapper too. In another video, we are going to talk about Dapper. And here we have a course. So for example, I can set all the allowed methods. I can see, for example, put, and or maybe just all, okay? But let's say, for example, put, let's missing allowed origins. Okay, so I need to add an origin for this one. So let's say my application is HTTPS front best karma.dev.com, for example, and this application can do in my this front end, Angular front end can do a put, post, patch, also can do a delete, also can do a get, and also can do a options, for example. Okay, so I can save here. Okay, and I have all the course settings down. Okay, so for example, after this one ends, this is loading course, we can see, for example, authentication. We can also set secrets. Okay, the identity, maybe I need the identity, so let's user assign it. Okay, maybe I need to pick this identity, object ID, to set permission in other Azure resource. Okay, I have here monitoring, okay, with a log stream. So here is doing some action. Okay, and here I have the ingress. Enable is all the settings we do when we create this resource. Okay, and here I have the log stream. Okay, it's connecting. I have all the logs here inside my function. Okay, here the logs I can do also some queries in the analytics workspace. A console. In this console with cell, for example, I can run, for example, ls, for example, and do all the assemblies I have here in my function, for example. So let's say karma function, okay, and I have, for example, all the worker extension I'm just another nuggets I'm using from Microsoft, okay. Alert, I can create a rule, and I can create also an action group to send some email whenever the for example, cores of CPU limits we are reaching. In this moment, we can send some email to the administrator of this resource, okay, to check the metrics and see what is happening here. And here is the metrics. For example, is all the resources, CPU resource, memories, okay, that all my instance, all my container I'm using inside the instance. Maybe I need based of the based in these metrics. Maybe I can. Maybe I need to set another vertical auto scaling rules, okay, to jump, for example, from 2 cores of CPU jump to 4 cores of CPU. Okay, and this is all you need to know as a developer from an Azure Container App. Maybe from the vision of a infrastructure member team, you need to know this resource deeply, but as a developer, this is enough to work with work proficient in Azure Container Apps. So okay, this is all for today. And if you like, okay, so click the like, subscribe in this channel, and let me know how much you like this channel. So see you.